All right, let's talk about something we've all felt, but maybe don't always understand. That twisting feeling in your gut when you see your best friend getting close to someone else. Yeah, we're talking about jealousy, but not in romance. We're diving deep into the science of jealousy in friendship.
You've probably heard this one before, right? Shakespeare called jealousy the green-eyed monster centuries ago, and he absolutely nailed it. It's this powerful emotion that feels like it's eating you up from the inside. It's just as real today as it was back then.
But here's the thing. What happens when that monster isn't roaring in a castle, but in your high school hallway? Or in your group chat? When jealousy hits a friendship, especially when you're a teen, it can feel like your whole world is shaking. So what is really going on there? To really get why friendship jealousy cuts so deep, you have to remember this one simple fact. When you're a teenager, your friendships are basically the center of your universe. They're not just for fun, they're the whole training ground for figuring out who you're gonna be.
I mean, think about it. This is where we learn pretty much everything. How to talk to people, how to feel like you belong somewhere, how to be a good friend, how to fight and then make up. So it makes sense that any little threat to those incredibly important bonds, well, it feels massive.
Okay, so we've got this super intense feeling bubbling up inside. But what happens next? How does that feeling turn into an action? Let's look at what we could call the weapons of jealousy. It's not something that usually just stays inside, is it? That powerful green-eyed feeling, it pushes you to do something. The real question is, what does that something look like? Well, researchers have a specific name for it, relational aggression. And this isn't about physical fights. No, this is way more strategic. It's all about hurting someone's reputation or their relationships with other people. It's a social attack. And here are the classic moves, right? Spreading rumors, maybe forgetting to invite someone to a hangout, or just straight up giving them the silent treatment. We've all seen it. These are the tools jealousy uses, and man, they can be incredibly painful. All right, now our investigation gets another layer. Does gender change the game here? Does this whole jealousy thing play out differently for boys and for girls? The science says, yeah, it might. There's this idea that there are almost two different cultures of friendship. Generally speaking, girls' friendships are often built around talking, sharing secrets, and emotional support, usually in smaller, tight-knit groups. Boys' friendships, on the other hand, have often been more about doing stuff together, sports, video games, in bigger groups. And you can see that right here in the data from this study. They asked kids how much they share secrets and personal stuff, what they call intimate exchange, and look at that difference. Girls scored way higher than boys. It just goes to show that what we're looking for in a friend can be a little different. But we can go even deeper. To really get a handle on jealousy, we kind of have to decode the very DNA of a friendship itself. What are friendships actually made of? You can think of every friendship as having its own unique recipe, right? A different mix of ingredients. And that's exactly what researchers in this study did. They broke down the idea of friendship quality into 6 key components that they could actually measure. So here's that secret code. You've got the good stuff, like feeling supported, just hanging out, getting advice, and sharing secrets. Then you have the tough stuff, like how often you argue or feel betrayed. And finally, there's the how do we fix it part, how good you are at making up after a fight. Every single friendship is some combination of these 6 things. Okay, so we've got all these different parts of a friendship, but which ones are the biggest triggers? Which of these qualities really cranks up the heat when it comes to jealousy? And the study found 2 that stood out, big time. It was the intimate exchange, all our secret sharing, and companionship, just spending tons of quality time together. The more a friendship had of these 2 things, the more likely the friends were to feel jealous. Which totally makes sense, right? The more you have, the more you're afraid to lose. Okay, but hang on, because this is where the story gets really, really interesting. The connection between feeling jealous and acting out, it's not a straight line. There is a major plot twist. What if I told you that in some friendships, feeling more jealous actually leads to less aggression, and in others, it leads to way more? It sounds kind of backward, but that's exactly what the data shows. Okay, so let's look at this graph. Now, I know it might look a little complicated, but stick with me because this is the key to the whole mystery. It shows the link between jealousy and that relational aggression we talked about. But here's the kicker. The link is completely different for boys and girls, and it all depends on one of those friendship qualities we saw earlier, caring and validation.
So let's look at the girls first. For them, if a friendship is really high in caring and support, when their jealousy goes up, their aggression actually goes down. It's like the friendship is so valuable, so important, they're not willing to risk damaging it by lashing out. That friendship quality acts like a protective shield. But now, look at the boys. It's the complete opposite. For them, in a really caring, high-quality friendship, when jealousy goes up, so does the aggression. And researchers think this could be a kind of territorial response. Like, this is my close friend, and I need to protect this bond, and they might use aggression to warn off any potential threats.
So, we've followed the clues, we've looked at the evidence. What's the final verdict? What have we really learned about friendship's green-eyed monster?
Let's put it all together. The huge takeaway here is that jealousy does not automatically lead to drama. The secret ingredient that changes the whole recipe is the quality of the friendship itself. That feeling of being cared for and validated can completely flip the script. For girls, it can be a protective shield, and for boys, it can sometimes be a trick.
And really, this brings it all back home, doesn't it? This science gives us a whole new code for understanding our own relationships. It proves that the how and why of a friendship truly matter. So maybe take a second and think about your own friendships. What does this new code reveal about them? Thanks for digging into this with me.